Whenever we do Lean as a workshop, when we get to problem, solution, fit, everyone just starts making shit up. It's like, okay, I've identified that these problems might exist. I'm just going to start making stuff up to fix those problems. When people's problems are personal and emotional, they become a lot more real. And it's a real thing we can work on. So, I don't know, I'm building a ride-sharing app, and the solution to the problem is cars on a mobile phone so that the user knows where the car is. Like, what a dry, boring explanation of a way of doing things. When the problem is, I'm alone, it's late, I had to leave the party because there was a dude there being real weird and I need a car. That's a problem. Like, that's worth working on. And from the texture of that problem, you know, from the physical manifestation, the feelings and the fear and the, like, all of the stuff that's locked up in that little sentence, I need a car right now. Like, yeah, you can match a solution to that problem and it's gonna work. Like, it's gonna have legs.
For a lot of people, their solution is a cool idea with a bunch of other cool ideas tacked onto it. It's not responses to the customer having problems. So we throw away all those assumptions and we start with the person who's experiencing problems, and we only pull in the parts of our idea that specifically solve the problems our customers have.
So annoyingly enough, to figure out the solution, we're going to work on the problem some more. We're going to start by getting the definition of the problem, and we're going to break it into parts. Then we're going to find solutions to each of those parts.
So the first step to do this process is start with the problem and break it down into like 2 or 3 main components. If there's only one main component, that's fine. Then we want to figure out, how does our solution solve each of those specific problems? The problem and the solution are probably all mixed up together in your head. So think through a specific experience of the customer using the solution to fix their problem, and let's try and identify the feature set. Think about it as parts of the machine. The large problem of getting from A to B can be solved through a bicycle. The feature of being able to go up hills is solved by the solution of gears on the bike. The problem of not dying when I get hit by a car is solved by the feature of wearing a helmet. So we're talking about features, we're not talking about the whole thing, we're talking about bits of the machine. We're not interested in all the other stuff you have to do to make the solution exist. We just want a problem that sucks and a solution to that problem. And pro tip with this, dig into the texture while you're figuring it out, but write it down as simply as you can. In the process of digging into the problem with your customers, they've probably told you about features of the problem that you haven't thought of, that you don't have solutions to. And this is awesome. This is like the best thing ever, because you now have the joy of either making up on the spot some way that we might solve that problem, which is something you can go and test and work on, or you've got like a missing part of your solution that you can build with your customers. So at the end of this process, you might end up with a few parts of the problem, and your great idea solves one of them. You have no idea how to solve one of the other problems, and you've made up a new idea on the spot to solve the third one that you can go and test tomorrow.
One nice way to think about what should end up in the solutions box is that we only want things that will make the idea exist at all. We don't want things that will make it grow or get better or be more awesome in the future. Things that you can actually go and build tomorrow. Lots of people's first idea for a social enterprise is like some kind of marketplace where people share something, like clothes or tools or whatever else. And the idea is that you'll make a website or an app and people will magically appear and just use that app to trade something. This idea is almost always thought up by people who can't actually code the website or app. This is really dangerous because it means you can't do the thing tomorrow. So instead, we might think the problem is people can't find good second-hand clothes or tools or whatever else. Let's solve that through a physical meetup or a Facebook group or some other thing that we can actually do.
What's the cheapest, fastest, easiest way to just get rid of those problems for the customer? This will probably make your idea less sexy than you thought it would be at the start. It'll probably be uglier and cruder and simpler. And that's really good because we want it to be small when we start.
Just call someone and say, hey, I know this is kind of weird to ask you, but do you ever have this problem? And when they chew your ear off for half an hour, then you know you're onto something. When you list the functions of the problem as we've written them down, and the person tells you, I wish I had solution that you've guessed at. Oh, that feels good. When they describe how they want you to remove the problem from their lives, they are building your product for you. So easy. It's really funny. The technical word for this is customer co-creation, which is like, right? What a dumb word for caring about people and the things that happen in their lives. But like, I guess the idea is true. It's like you hang out with people and they tell you about stuff, and you turn the stuff they tell you into a product and you win.
Now, if you've got a really clean, simple business, there might be one problem and one solution, and that's it. If it's slightly more complex, you might have 2 or 3 main components with a problem and a solution for that specific problem. Try not to have more than like 3 or 4 max. We don't want a dozen. And the joy of a lean canvas is that we're focusing on fewer things. So we don't want all of the bells and whistles of the idea. We just want the like top 1 or 2 clear problems and the solutions to those problems.
Like one of our tests for problem solution fit is that customers just nod along and they're like, yes, I need that in my life. And the internal mechanism for that is you look at the problems and you go, oh, I really hope no one ever experiences that, but people do. And then you look at the solution and you should have this physical reaction, like, oh, I wish that existed in the world. Oh, I need that. We are 1/3 of the way. We are 1/3 of the way through a process of building an idea that might one day be a business. Like we're at once upon a time. And so getting the customer, the problem, and the solution right is starting the story well. And starting the story with once upon a time there was a person. And we've learned that the hero of the story is not you. Once upon a time, there was a customer. And that customer had a big, bad, hairy problem. Let me tell you the story of how we fixed that problem.